Very interesting. Every morning we are here, and our mandate is to ensure that we spice up your morning with information that is very relevant for you, more so that we are remaining with only 48 hours to presidential and parliamentary elections. A very interesting song there. When I was watching that song, Felix and Priscilla, that is for Haiti. By then, when they were hit by a natural disaster, something came to my mind that if our all stars, our musicians in this country would come together, then bring a song up for peace in this time.
Oh, well, We Are the World was actually a very interesting rendition, and how artists from different parts of the world came together was really touching. But we've had one with our local artists, I remember.
A couple of them. In fact, one that was very famous was done by Honorable Chagulani as a lead. Remember, that one was about mothers who were dying in process of giving birth. It was a very nice one. It had the likes of Chameleon, Navio, Bobby Wine, Mickey Wine, Peter Miles, Radio, Weasel, Maiso. And we had one for HIV, which had the Bugembes, Ziza Bafana, Rema Namakula, the Msuzas. We also had one again for AIDS. We've had one for Uganda. Remember that version that was done?
Different artists.
Yes, doing Uganda. Only that they have tried. You see, if you do know the thesis of this particular song that we listened to, you must realize that it was meant to, it's called what? To solicit funds.
Yeah.
So Wycliffe Jean comes from Haiti. That's natively his home. And he was trying to see what he can do from his position as a musician. So he called upon the likes of Jimmy Fox, who was co-producer of this particular one. Yeah. And I like some Lenton Greenham, and they called particular artists who would use this song to get money. It was basically for that purpose, to get money to send aid, fundraising, that's the word, yeah. And that was particularly to help for the damage, yeah. But even though you know that this song was a remix, remember there's a previous one where they had the likes of the MJs, the Whitneys of this world. But again, even that time, it was done for Africa. It was to solicit funds for Africa. And by then, it was simply, there were so many wars, and mostly in West Africa. In fact, I remember the major concept was for Ethiopia. There was so much, and the refugee numbers were so high, so much that time. And again, Rwanda was also at the verge of the same. So it's basically, you know, times, it's songs like this inspired by times, yeah, and situations. But today in Uganda, you people are talking about peace. In as much as people have fear and worry, I don't see a need for the worry. Though it is good to discuss peace, but the discussion of peace must be juxtaposed with the relevant notion of fear of peace. So I think the times have not called for that. You saw artists come out on terms with Corona. You saw how many songs were done. There's a song by the Gargamel, the Bebe Cool, and a couple of artists. There's one by King Saha, the Waiki Benders. There's one by the guys from Eagles. So times call for such productions, and if you don't have, I don't think we have. You want people to sing about peace. There is peace. What is this? Is there absence of peace?
In short, everyone in their capacity, in their abilities, surely they can use the different positions they have, or the different offices, or the different gifts that they have to spread the message. And the current message that here in Good Morning Uganda we're spreading is peace. Felix, you said there's no need for, talking about peace or advocating for peace, but trust you me, some corporate companies are already telling people that from the 13th to probably the 18th, offices are going to be closed. What does that mean on the economy? What does that mean on businesses? What does that mean on trade? What does that mean on society? What does that mean on social life?
The city, not because necessarily they are going to vote, because there's some bit
Let me say this without fear of contradiction, and I want to be on record. You see,
please.
You see, everyone will say what they have to say for their intention or for the motives they better know. What I meant, or what I said, is that if people are anticipating the abuse of the present peace, is not something we can rely on to make decisions. All right? And what is peace in the sense of peace, for example, in terms of elections? There is normally what we call tension, political tension. And it is expected. See what's happening in USA, what you were calling earlier the mother of democracy. Joe Biden is said to have won with over 70 million. Trump is said to have lost with also about close to 70 million. Where is the democracy? The tensions are there. It's just about having what we call national levels of how you approach things at a national level. You see, as you call on to peace, and this is something I want to say, Robert, even to all leaders who are watching, probably all people who are standing for president and MP and whatever. When you want to start telling people, and I've seen a lot of church leaders who are talking about
preaching peace.
But let me tell you, if you want to discuss peace, you cannot discuss peace in isolation of all other issues.
I agree with you, Felix. I do.
You get the point. You see, we were making it, and because of this discussion, we have started pointing fingers. Before it is going to go tribal. Because every other thing, let's discuss peace on a spectrum of all other values.
Because actually there are things that create that environment.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
If you leave them aside,
if you want to talk about peace, Robert, talk about the injustices, because they're the ones that steer the fear of
outrage and all this. Yes.
When you want to talk about issues of peace, talk about all other injustices. So let's approach this thing of, that's what I'm saying, the fear for peace is simply because people are hiding all other issues and want to just bring out that one for a moment. But there are so many things we need to discuss.
We're talking about peace. Later on, we expect to host renowned politician Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere, and we'll be discussing peace, a man who has been on the political scene since 1980s. And also My Vote, My Choice. Who are you hosting this morning?
We're talking to Milton Kambura, the Global Peace Ambassador. Again, peace. Somehow peace flashes itself in our faces.
For those reasons, if you know your name is Peace and you're watching Good Morning Uganda today, thank you so much for tuning in.
Being peace
and
also.
for being peace. And I'm sure people around you have peace for you. You being called peace. But we're definitely streaming live on our YouTube channel today, which is UBC TV. UBC Television Uganda, and also on Facebook we're streaming live UBC TV. On Twitter you can get the updates at UBC TV Uganda. Hashtag is UBCGMU, and the coverage for 24 hours hashtag is UBCUG Polls 2021.
And don't forget also our YouTube channel, that is UBC Television Uganda. There you will catch us live on YouTube. But as we head for elections, do you know the manifesto of the candidate you're going to vote? You should be informed enough. Today I want to take a brief look at some of these manifestos, what they speak about certain issues, and maybe why you should be voting. There are 11 candidates in the race, but not all have availed their manifestos. I see Alliance for National Transformation availed, NRM availed a manifesto, Joseph Kabeleta, this is an independent candidate, availed a manifesto, NUP, they have a manifesto. Nancy Linda Kalembe, I see something similar to a manifesto. Then FDC also has a manifesto. But let's go through, we will follow through alphabetical order there. We'll look at these manifestos because this is the contract that these politicians are making with you. That in case we voted into power, this is what we are going to do. So let's take a look, some of them beginning with Alliance for National Transformation, where they, in the health sector, improve planning for the entire health system to address staff training and professional development, human resource management, investment in infrastructure and related maintenance and possible production in the future, as well as logistical management. The planning will also focus on development of highly specialized care facilities at regional level, including strengthening the Heart and Cancer Institute, kidney and that is gastrointestinal management and neurosurgery. That is when it comes to the health sector.
Well, an interesting promise that they're making there for national transformation as far as the health sector is concerned. And I'm glad that they get to talk about it, because we saw it just recently, last year, when we had the current Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago moving to Nairobi for treatment. And guess who the medical team, where the medical team was picked from to work on him in Nairobi? There were Ugandans that were transported to Nairobi to take care of a Ugandan in Kenya. Isn't that funny? Isn't that weird? That we do have the resources, we do have the expertise here, but it is underutilized, one, in terms of appreciation of value addition appreciation, if I can call it that. What do I mean? That you do have the doctors with the qualifications, but we do not appreciate them in terms of reward for what they are qualified to do. So someone else knows how great they are in their qualification, that they can actually import them. Oh no, sorry, that would be export, right? They can export them to another region, another place, to do the same job that they can do here.
Doctor is a Ugandan who has spent 40 years practicing in Nairobi, Kenya.
Exactly. On the, on the diaspora, we know of so many Ugandan doctors that are legendaries, especially in the areas of surgery. So it shows you that we do have the resources, we do have the manpower to actually have one of the best health sectors in the region. But are we investing in it? No. Are we appreciating it in terms of reward? No, we're not. And if we're not, someone else is watching them, and they will feed them, take them out. What do I mean? And there's so many of those programs of scholarships, medical scholarships. They'll take them for a medical scholarship in China, in Asia, in Europe. And guess what? They're going to be retained thereafter. And we shall only be here proud to say, no, we have a doctor in Europe, best surgical heart, which is unfair. So if we can have such focus coming through for a presidential candidate promising to ensure that there's actually development in human resource, and it would be very, very good.
In the health sector, Felix, let's look at what the NRM has there as a political party, their manifesto in the health sector. With regards to health, the NRM will undertake the following measures: renovate all construct theaters and wards in 37 high care intensive units without a functional theater, construct at least 5,000 staff houses for health workers at that is both referral and regional hospitals. Then it has increased access to specialized healthcare services by construction, rehabilitation, and equipping of hospitals and super specialized centers of excellence in line with the national health policy. Appreciation of ICT in healthcare system will also drive the health workforce productivity. That is the name when it comes to health.
That is good grammar anyway, but I find that simply grammatic rhetoric. It was nice. It was nice rhyming, but you see,
this is what they plan to do.
Again, nice rhyming, but a government, and for me, sometimes it's hard to form trust in some of those statements that are tried to be juicy in how they sound and all rosy and what. The issues of health care in Uganda, Robert, NRM should be much more evidence-based than simply those rosy promises. That's why I say it is simply grammatic rhetoric. When you read, IT pushed what, that is simply, but you've had all this time, and actually if you want to assess in healthcare in terms of, or you want to look at manifestos of NRM and healthcare, you don't look at that, you look at what they've been able to do. It's better, it's more safe for you to judge them on what's on ground than particularly. We know that over time, they have tried to avail services. They have tried to improve quality of medical services. When you look at now referral hospitals, you have the Chirudus, you have the Kawempe, you have Morago, and probably they're talking about other regional referrals.
About 17 referral hospitals now that are functioning.
That's something fairly good, I must say. But the question is, we must be able to do more. If you remember the inception of COVID-19, it was a disproof of so much of what they talk about. You get it? That we go to a point where we know that now all our health structures are not actually as good as people.
We have to even confess that we don't have the health structures to sustain us to COVID-19.
When COVID was the story, people of AIDS and HIV were suffering. Malaria issues came in. You know, just and goes and on and on and on and on. You look at the mental health. This is one of the most high-growing challenge in this country. I've been privileged to carry out a research in terms of mental health, and I know that it is one of the most neglected spheres of health in this country. How many mental health hospitals do we have, facilities? But look at, have you been to Butabika, Chirabo?
I've been to Butabika.
Do you know what's in Butabika? You would cry, man. You cry. So I think their promise shouldn't be far from what they have been doing, for me, in my opinion. I think they should pick from some of the things that they have been doing and see how to do them better.
Also, it's
we have the neonatal hospital, which is a wonderful thing. Mulago's trying to be given a new image and this, but let's look at accessibility.
And that's what I was actually
because it's healthcare must be accessible, and this is where our brothers and sisters in the NRM must concentrate so much, because in as much as everything good is put out there, but people cannot access it is as good as useless.
Actually, Mugisha Muntu has talked about it in terms of access, and I
will get to Mugisha Muntu's manifesto, but before we get to that, on health, because you're looking at each of these candidates, key issues.
That's what I was talking about. I'm still talking about health. In terms of his promise is that should he be elected president, for healthcare, he wants to find a way of doing what we have as NSSF, to have a scheme, an insurance scheme for every Ugandan to access health at a very affordable cost, so that you just have a card, a health card, and you can access medical, and then it can be found coverage. So he was talking about a national health insurance coverage for all Ugandans, which would be a great idea to adopt.
But Robert, you may not get a chance to look through health and all these other contents. But what we can do, maybe if I may suggest, we can look at just a candidate and a couple of just 2 or 3 aspects. For example, if you talk about the NRM, Robert, there's no, you don't talk about infrastructure, because for them it's been their go point, it's been their head point, it's been their leverage point amongst all other continents. You look at what His Excellency the President has emphasized in terms of infrastructure that crosses wide from industrialization. Look at the road network, that is transportation or communication. Look at power and all those kind of things. He has, the NRM has greatly invested itself into look at the markets. Almost every week the man has been launching another market after market. And so the NRM has clearly told us that their interest or their far achievement is cast also in the aspect of infrastructure, which of course steers economic growth primarily. Then probably for them you also look at the issue of security, which is a quite key growth component of the region, given the region we are in. You and me know that Kenya up till today has issues, Tanzania, all the countries,
Congo,
Rwanda and all this. But only Uganda since 2007-15, it has not had any notable, around that time, notable attack or insurgency, presence of rebellion or what, or these kind of things. And we have been able to also carry out peace out of just our cantonment. Uganda, we've been South Sudan, Somalia, just to mention but a few. Maybe just for that, he's the president, as I told you, he comes into this election with an evidence-based argument. And that's where he has the niche, that he comes here and tells you, see, I did this. Because I did this, I can do this. Because I did this, I can do this. You know?
Yes, but
and again, just lastly, Priscilla, and again, as much as that is beautiful, everyone else coming in this election is also basing on where he has failed. You get the point? Because the anticipation is that after 35 years, you should have been able to do what? Anything that there is to be done. And that's why the Chagwanyos of this world come out and say, no here, no the Gregory. I've looked at Tumukunde's trail.
Okay, still talking about that, Felix has brought it out very well that other candidates are looking at the weaknesses or what NRM has not been able to achieve. For example, in the health sector, I wanted to hit on each candidate's manifesto on that key issues that quickly affect Ugandans. I don't know how best we can do that. But Joseph Kabileta in health, he says, healthcare is a priority. My priority is to bring Uganda's healthcare spending to 15% of our GDP, which is the level that the country committed to the African, that is Kabileta Joseph, in the African Union Summit in Abuja in 2001. That is when it comes to health, Joseph Kabileta. He says our commitment to the Abuja Declaration of having 15% of our national budget in the health sector, that is what he's going to be pushing for when it comes to the field of health.
And the current percentage is?
Well, not even 10% of our budget.
Okay. Well, if he's going to bring it to 15%, that means that something else is going to lose, because they would have to find where they're going to get that balance to level it up to 15% as far as national budget is concerned, for him to be able to attain that vision of health sector investment that he wants if he becomes presidency. But that means that something else is going to have to give. Either you're going to have to get money from other sectors that are going to suffer economically, infrastructure-wise, as he has allocated it, which could play to his advantage, because should he become president, that means that the outgoing regime has done their best in terms of infrastructure, let's say, as Felix was talking about, road network, economy, and things like that.
Another has been infrastructure and household income.
So if there's been a great growth in infrastructure, then that means that maybe they could reduce the percentages of investment into infrastructure and get that to top up to make the 15% in health. It would be a lot of mathematics. You'd have to convince, the necessary stakeholders in making that decision.
Yes. According to them, many, when I read through their manifestos, they're looking at defense. We reduce expenditure on defense, the classified expenditure, so that we can divert these resources. And also, they look at money that can be saved from corruption. But let's also take a look at another candidate in the race. That is Robert Kyagulanyi, the NUP candidate. What has he gotten to say? That is, maybe look at education. The National Unity Platform will radically transform Uganda's education. We shall pursue an ambitious rehabilitation plan of making sure that every school in Uganda is adequately equipped, staffed as follows: early child development, giving every child the best start in life, establish standard of guidance and norms for education to ensure that every education center is decent, safe, and managed very well. That is in the field of education. Economy, the National Unity Platform seeks to approach economic development by focusing on inclusiveness and integration, with ultimate aim of improving the well-being of citizens and sharing wealth equitably. Sharing wealth equitably.
You see, again, good and nice rhetorics.
The part of wealth, before you even start off, Felix, it will never be possible. Even the Bible says the poor will be amongst us. So
no, Priscilla, if no. And let me tell you, the requirement, I don't know if that's what he meant, my brother Robert Kyagulanyi, but I don't think that he's talking about equitable. When you talk about equitable sharing of wealth, is that resources must be put at a platform where there's what we call equity, not necessarily equality, but equity. That when Chidabo, even if you're a poor man, at least your son can acquire education. You don't have to be rich for your child to go up to Makerere. It's simply what Kyagulanyi is saying. You don't have to be a son of someone to get a job somewhere, which some of the times this has been the truth of the matter. So what I'm saying is that what he's saying is true. It's good for this country. But you see, we must tell people, I want leaders who come to people that the gospel of growth in wealth is collaterally, it is annexed to work. There is no shortcut. I have heard many leaders say, no.
Even the other hand,
truth of the matter.
People have always gone and made those statements to say, government to Yambe. Government help us.
And this is where
how far and how deep can
but also is where I fault the government also. This is because it's also part of their practices as what we call quick solutions. Chinabo is rising with Priscilla and what? Mwagarachi. That's why, so it has, but when Kyagulanyi talks about, but Kyagulanyi is talking about if we can have systems that form equitable approaches to livelihoods, in terms of socio-economic presence. That is what we need as well as a country. I think he's true in his own faith. That even if you are a woman working in a market, your kind of work does not it does not fail you from, or your people or yourself from achieving, for example, good health, your child getting good education, because the determinant is not what you do or where you are from or what you, the determinant is that the country has minimum standards. These are words, you know, the Ugandans say bigambo tebita.
Yeah, but
these are words, but the trueness of the same we don't know, because just lastly, Robert, when you say you want to do this, how is important.
That's what I was going to say.
That is what we're going to come.
Before we go, Robert, before we go, the how is important, because the manifesto that they have on education is really too sweet a tooth for the reality of it happening. You would think that already...
What do they have on education?
Education, ensuring that there is proper staffing, that every child can access education from nursery to university or tertiary institutions free of charge.
I think that's doable.
That's doable, but it's not doable in 5 years. You see, we also have to think of these things.
Who told you he wants to rule for 5 years?
Well, we are under the assumption that if you only have 5 years, then he achieved this in 5 years.
Let's agree on one thing. Let's agree on one thing. That these people come to you with manifestos.
There are no term limits, so they
because
be
this is what you're going to stand on for you to vote for them. So they will come, but it's also up to you to look at how practical are these manifestos. How practical are these manifestos? How real can these promises be put, or ensuring that they are really practiced? In the health sector, now we move to FDC, that is Forum for Democratic Change. Patrick Oboy Amriat, the presidential candidate. Should I look at, okay, the health we discussed. For them, they look at good governance, environment, economy, okay, education. Should I talk education? I think also let's look at what they have for education. Mainstream technical education and vocational skilling along the entire education chain. Offer dedicated competitive finance support to private schools, institutions to scale up enrollment and competition in areas of priority. Training, our target is to ensure that at least 100,000 students enroll in private BTVET facilities every year. That is in the education sector. Security, establish an independent security service commission vested with a mandate to determine discipline, promotions and commissions, as well as handle complaints and all other matters related to the army, police, intelligence agencies. That is what they have for security. Then foreign policy, increase budget allocation for foreign affairs programs and the development budget for missions abroad, develop a legal framework to guide foreign service operation and staff appointment. So these are some of the promises. But lastly, let me wind with what they have in the health. That is FDC, what the manifesto talks about health. Construct and equip healthcare facilities and develop well-trained and motivated medical workers. Deploy e-governance system to achieve greater systems, accountability, leadership, and effective governance in the health service delivery. The focus will be on management systems and inter-sector coordination. That is Forum for Democratic Change.
I think the most convincing for me there is the education and what they're considering. They have surely seen the loophole, and it's a conversation that we've been having here last year, seeing how COVID-19 has been managed, especially when it comes to the education of this country. They have put education aside, and the considerations for which they are using to resume education in COVID-19 have shown you that surely formal education is good, but informal education is also key. So for FDC to actually consider focusing on technical education, I think that would be a good one we'd want to see, because it gives people the liberty to choose and work within their confinements. Ability with disability and things like that, you can still make a living. So that means that we would see more investment in terms of building Uganda, buying Uganda, if we can invest in technical education more.
I agree with you, Priscilla. The BTVET, if you can have enrollment of about 100,000 every year, that means, you know, technical education, these are hands-on, practical things. A person leaves the institution and they can create their own job. All they need are simply a few machines.
They create a job, they become an employer, they employ another 10 Ugandans.
Felix, finally with the FDC manifesto.
FDC has been around for some time. By now they should know the problems and challenges of Ugandans. I haven't looked through thoroughly their manifesto, but I know a couple of pointers in terms of education, health, administration, corruption, external policy. But that about education, I think it's the way to go. Surprisingly, the NRM government, through the president, has also been doing much of that in the last, I think, 3 years of his government.
Presidential initiatives on skilling the culture,
You've seen a lot of that. It is opened up even
technical institution
somewhere there in Intinda.
In their manifesto as well.
There are so many now. There are so many. Even myself, I'm affiliated to some of them as trainers. But I know that it's the way to go. And as Priscilla said, there is no better way to have what we call increased household income without having skills. Today, what we trade is skills, and that, because that forms value. Yeah. And people will definitely want you because you have get some sort of value.
And this is a funny thing. In every community, you'll find a tailor, you'll find a shop attendant, you'll find a barber, a beautician. So it really shows you that it's very, very important. It's fundamental.
FDC has it on point in terms of education.
If they become
those are the manifestos. You can try and find more regarding the candidate of your choice and the various candidates that have availed manifestos. All the 11, not all have manifestos. But there are those who have availed their manifestos that you can clearly look up and get to know why you should vote for a particular candidate. When we return, I and Priscilla will be looking through some of the stories in the print media.
Good morning, Uganda. January 2021, live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning, Uganda.
Enjoy great value from Airtel with the all-new My Pakalast combo offers. We have customized especially for you the best deals on minutes, data, and SMS with our 3-in-1 My Pakalast combo to give you the best value as you stay in touch with friends and family. To activate My Pakalast voice combo, dial *100*2*1# to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Buyogera nyaffe Uganda ku Radio Africa tolemwa kumwenya olw'akamwenyumwenyu akajjudde abanywanyi. Embeera y'obudde yatukolako mukwano n'obutonde obutubeezaawo ne butusobozesa buli omu okubeerawo mu ngeri ye kuba ffenna tuli banjawulo ne mu ngeri gye tukwasaganyamu emirimu gyaffe. Naye ekitugatta ne tufuuka omuntu omu bwe buwoomye buva mu kyokunywa ekyaleeruya jingatte drink n'aleeruya tamarin drink eddekende erikumala ennyonta ate nga wejjanjaba omubiri gwo. Ekyokunywa kino kye kitegeera embiri gyaffe kuba kya butonde 100 ku 100. Woomerwa ekyokunywa kirimu omubisi gw'enkooge. Aleluya tamarin drink n'aleluya jingatte drink bikolebwa ba Aleluya Reflexology Healthy Solution and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Weefunira ekyokunywa kya Aleluya leero okuva ku maduuka wonna. Bakubire ku noti 393 24 15 6
Good morning, Uganda. January 2021, live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning, Uganda. Uganda Decides 2021.
Uganda decides 2021. I just remember this in November. It was just a talk that you all come to. It is now, there are 60 days of campaigns. So, but Priscilla, for me, I'm happy that finally we are coming to the end of these campaigns for presidential and parliamentary. There's been a lot of nonsense happening.
Well, everything has its season, and this season had to wait 5 years to be repeated once again. And we're glad that it's coming to a closure. Now we can say 48 hours to go, and Uganda will have decided. The hashtag that you can look out for to follow the updates and live coverage from UBC is hashtag UBC UG Polls 2021. On all our social media platforms, you can use that hashtag to get updates on every single movement, every single vote, every single count, and every single discussion as far as the next 3, 4, 5 days are concerned.
Very interesting, but we are here also to inform you of what is happening in the dailies. Before we do that, let's take a look at our poll question this morning. Have you had chance to read your candidate's manifesto as campaigns end today? Have you had a chance to read your candidate's manifesto as campaigns end today? Please
magic word there is read, by the way, not hear or anything or follow, but have you had a chance to read? Hashtag is UBCGMU on Twitter at UBC TV Uganda. On Facebook, you can find it on UBC TV. And remember, we are also streaming live today on our YouTube channel, which is UBC Television Uganda.
Hope Ugandans vote manifestos.
They better. But again, test the
I just hope they do vote manifestos.
This whole
Otherwise, many of them. But let's take a look at some of the stories in the day. It is very interesting politics in Uganda. Here, we see Museveni leading with 64% in latest polls. I don't know if my colleague has ever been consulted in terms of opinion polls, but that is what the New Vision brings you today. 64%. Leading Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the NRM candidate. Then candidates advised to avoid sharing calculators and sets. Details on O and A-level exam schedule inside there. But before I go to Priscilla, please, I just want to remind you, do not be part of the statistics of COVID-19. As we speak, we have 302 people that have succumbed to COVID-19. Lives lost to COVID-19. Cases so far registered 37,808 in Uganda. And we have total recovery standing at 12,942. New death, it's 1, and new recovery stand at 90. Again, avoid situations that can make you vulnerable or acquire COVID-19 virus.
Well, much as we're heading into the general election, the countdown is 2 days to go, and I'm disappointed the Daily Monitor has a different headline or a topic of conversation to start off the paper this morning. How soldiers shot 4 people dead. Really, people are wanting to know about elections, and we're talking about a soldier who shot 4 people dead. So I will move to
that have been lost.
I will move to page 5. The men and women in charge of elections, looking at the election campaign trail today as they're closing campaigns for presidential candidates. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will be in Kampala. You have Patrick Obore Amriat in Machindye Rubaga. You have Robert Chagulanyi in Chira Municipality, Nakawa East and West. You have Norbert Mao, Gulu and Gulu City. You have Mugisha Muntu, who will be in Kotido, Kabong, Moroto, Napak. Is he going to be able to reach all these places in one day? Henry Tumukunde in Wakiso. You have Nancy Kalemba in Jinja. You have John Katumba, not known. Fred Mosije in Wakiso. Hoima will be having Joseph Kableta, and Willie Mayambala finished his campaign trail. Plain and simple.
Many that are going to be in Kampala, according to the Electoral Commission, unless they're going to use the media or other alternatives. We hope we don't see a recap. Yesterday, I found it hard. I was moving, coming from the side of Chengela then. But when we met with Amriat around Rubidi, there was an arrest that was conducted there. Traffic jams was very inconvenient.
So, Chirabo, just for clarity's sake, you had a meeting with Amriat when we met?
The convoy, Amriat's convoy, and police had to arrest him there. It was so complicated, you know. The scare people, you first ask, what is happening? I'm seeing so much deployment. So I hope candidates are aware that Kampala is a no-go area for political gatherings, and we don't have mayhem on the last day of campaigns. In the New Vision still, Museveni urges youth to vote good MPs. Who are good MPs? Please vote good MPs. Then employers warned against restricting workers from voting, allow them to go and vote. And I'm sure this is a public holiday. 14th should be a public holiday for people to go and vote. So many that are not kept at work and they miss out. Then youth, persons with disabilities, elections peaceful. That is good, but remember these are elections of electoral colleges. Then ISO briefs religious leaders on election security.
Okay. All right, we get to look at Elections Platform 2021 as Uganda decides. In the Daily Monitor, they bring you men and women in charge of the polls. You have Justice Simon Biabakama, chairperson. So they give you the details of the information of the people in charge of this election 2021. Some key battlegrounds to watch out on election day. There's Lira City, where you have the main battle between Lira City woman MP being NRM's Jen Ruther Cheng, as well as the incumbent who is a UPC, Miss Joy Atim. Another battleground we want to look at is Koboko Municipality, where you have Ayume Charles, Dr. incumbent, and of course you do have Yakani incoming there or wanting to come in. So check out the different districts and the battlegrounds and see how the competition might be stiff or a tug of war in those regions when you pick yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. Election observers name 30 districts prone to violence. Among them, Bara, Isinjiro, Kasese, Ntungamo, Kabare, Kanungu, and other districts.
There still regarding elections, presidential candidates give their plans after elections. What will Mugisha Muntu do? What will William Ayambala do? Pastor Mwesije, all of them. Then their Nancy promises Bugisu better health facilities. This election has been so much on health, infrastructure, education.
Well, because COVID-19 has brought to perspective the most important things, especially when it comes to the servicing of Ugandans in return for the taxes that they pay to this country. But looking at the comments in the Daily Monitor this morning, there's a cartoon and it's really showing Facebook has shut down some accounts belonging to government officials. And a very interesting cartoon there. But some of the comments written here, Kodan is writing about the youth elections. Think about the future of our youth. That's something that we've not seen in the manifestos we've looked at this morning. Muntu, best choice to succeed Museveni, and that is Mulera, who is writing about that. Why violence is the main issue in this election. Right now, the opposition is ever being diverted from the campaign trail. It's another comment that you need to read about in the Daily Monitor.
In the New Vision, there is so much. This is comments. There's a column where fish death, be more proactive with the lake's health. Remember on the shores of Lake Victoria, we are seeing dead fish there, most of the Nile punch. Scientists are working tooth and nail to find out what really happened. Were they poisoned? Is this a strange disease attacking them? And remember, this is one of the industries that's just been rejuvenated by the works of UPDF on the waters. And amidst this, as we are beginning to reap again from this industry, now we see such trouble on our waters. Why Museveni win should not surprise you. Someone writes there, that is the writer, is a senior presidential advisor on political affairs at State House. He says why Museveni's win should not surprise you. As we head for elections, then why Kamuli should re-elect Kadaga. Okay, there's so much there. Polls, racism versus populism in the coming elections. Then the balance between media freedom and nationalism. I love this article. It's written by, the writer is a lawyer and deputy resident city commissioner for Kampala in charge of Kawempe, Hood Hussein. Balance between media freedom and nationalism.
2021 conversations continue in the Daily Monitor, bringing you highlights of what you need to look out for in the next 48 hours. Young Blood takes on Sematimba in Rusiro, and the Young Blood there is Paul Award. Then you look at NRM teams up with DP to beat Namboze in Mukono. So these are the conversations around the elections that are coming on the 14th of January 2021.
When you talk about 14th of January 2021, you make it sound a bit far. It is just
48 hours. 48 hours.
To that. We are almost there. We are there. We pray that you're safe and sound. Don't involve yourself in anything that may lead to you not being present to cast your vote if you're among the 18-point-something million Ugandans. Just remind you, in Good Morning Uganda agenda, we have a politician who has been around and has participated in a number of elections as a presidential candidate in the 1980s. Then also he took on President Museveni, that is Dr. Paul Kawanga Semwogere. He is now the person behind the United in Diversity that brings together opposition parties to ensure they safeguard their vote in the coming elections. But before that, let's look at what is happening in the traffic with Priscilla Naroga. Madam Officer, this time I'm not saluting.
Oh, that's very fine. That's very fine.
Please just help us know how safe we can get to our destinations.
Good morning, Uganda, January 2021, live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning, Uganda. Uganda Decides 2021.
Shopping needs, come to Capital Shoppers. We have a variety of items like foods, garments, cosmetics, and all sorts of drinks. Enjoy your shopping experience at affordable prices in our fully stocked branches in the following areas: Ntinda Stretcher Road, opposite Makere Business School along Portbell Road, Duster Street opposite Nakasero Market, and Garden City on Yusuf Lule Road. To all our customers and suppliers, we thank you for your continuous support. Stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize, and wear your mask always.
Good morning, Uganda. Today is a great day to make someone's day. A wonderful day to rewrite the future. Today is a beautiful day to light up their world. A marvelous day to make a brand new start. The perfect day to make the world smaller. Uganda, today isn't just another day. Today is your day. Airtel Money, with you always. Airtel Money, quick, secure, borderless.
The National Resistance Movement reminds all Ugandans about the power in your vote. Since democracy was ushered into Uganda in 1995, Ugandans have exercised their right to choose the right leadership. Hence, your vote is very important, so don't waste it. On the polling day, arrive at your polling station at exactly 7 a.m. You will be given a ballot paper. Go ahead and tick or use a thumbprint in the space next to the yellow bus. Make sure you tick or thumbprint in the box. Do not exceed the box to ensure the ballot is not spoiled. Then fold your ballot paper lengthwise and insert it into the ballot box. The National Resistance Movement applauds you for exercising your right to vote. Do not be misled. Secure your future. Vote Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the man wearing a hat at the bottom of the ballot paper. This message is brought to you by the NRM National Chairman's Office.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Good Morning Uganda. January 2021. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
12th of January 2021 is the day. Happy New Year for those of you that are tuning in for the first time on UBC TV Uganda. And we're just reminding you here that we're going to be giving you live coverage for the next days incoming ahead of the 2021 general elections. The major ones being on the 14th of January. So we'll be giving you live coverage on our social media platforms. We'll be giving you every single update coming through as and when it comes through. The hashtag is UBC UG Polls 2021, and you can find us on Twitter at UBC TV Uganda. On Facebook, we're streaming live on UBC TV, and definitely our YouTube channel is an app and streaming live this morning, which is UBC Television Uganda. Looking at the traffic updates this morning, we get to look at Nile Avenue, and maybe it gives us an indication of where the red spots are this morning as far as heavy traffic jam is concerned. Now, I get to look at the city center. Surprisingly, this morning, we do have a lot of places that are having a jam build-up, which is queer because you'd be expecting it on the main road. 5 minutes to the top of the hour, 8 a.m., you get to look at the red spots or the hot spots for traffic jam this morning. Now, coming from Nile Avenue, you get to see that at this roundabout between Speak Road and that is going down to Kampala Road, Shimoni Road also, we do have a little bit of jam building up there, but it's nothing to fret about. Only when you are using Shimoni Road to join the rest of Uganda Road is where you may find some little bit of challenge. However, we do have the roundabout that connects from Sheraton, Lumumba Avenue, the Kasero Road, and the Square too. This particular one this morning is having a lot of jam build-up, I believe, simply because people are using this area as an alternative escape from the main road, which would be Kampala Ginger Highway in this case, or alternatively, they're using Yusuf Lule and trying to get into the heart of the city using this direction. So that is why we do have some jam build-up on that roundabout there. Getting to look at another hot spot this morning is the junction between Uganda Road and the Square One, and also Kampala Road. As you know, we do have a city square here, and it always is having commuter taxis bringing in people into the heart of the city to start off their day. So that contributes to the orange lines that you're seeing here. On the square side, on the upper side of the city square, that is, we do have jam build-up also because commuter taxis do a rotation on these two roads to be able to pick up passengers or drop off passengers for that matter, which also contributes to the jam on Buganda Road because of the new Kochi Towers here. It has brought in a lot of traffic jam here because some of the businesses here are getting into the building, which affects the speediness of the jam on Buganda Road. But looking at the rest of Buganda Road, it gets to clear up and brings you to Chagwe Road, which can connect you to Buganda Road. Looking at Chagwe Road going down through Kampala Road, as usual, this little roundabout here by KCCA is always going to have jam around the church of Watoto Church. The junction of Watoto Church. Bombo Road brings in traffic jam from Wandegea, from Kira Road, and all those other outskirts of Kampala. People are getting into the business areas. Benchuanuka is another expected street to have jam because we do have a lot of businesses, a lot of trucks that are bringing in goods in this particular area of downtown. So Benchuanuka Street this morning, probably they're offloading goods and getting them into the different arcades in this area. So current status is the jam is not moving. If you had wanted to use this as an alternative, surely it may not be the safest to use this morning. Looking at the rest of Chagwe Road, you get to see that around Mukwana Mall, building up to Chagwe Road, heading into Kampala Road, on either side, there is a lot of jam. Again, there's commuter taxis trying to get into Sauriako Market and also the new taxi park. So that does contribute to the jam here. So this will be an alternative route for you, but as of this morning, you might want to avoid it. Looking at another hotspot area would be Matia Lumumba Road also, that has a lot of jam picking up there. We get to look at Bakuli bus terminal around Global Buses. You get to see that there's a lot of traffic jam there. Namirembe Road, as of this time, you do understand people are trying to get to the villages just before election dates for security reasons, and so it does also interpret into the road network this morning. But we get to see a lot of jam here, commuter taxis and people coming in from the southern part of Kampala trying to get into the heart of the city. So those are the hot spots areas for you to consider not to use if you are in a rush hour this morning. Those are the traffic updates. We do have Good Morning Uganda agenda coming through. Our poll question this morning is right on your screen, and you can contribute to it. Hashtag is UBCGMU. And we're simply asking you, have you had a chance to read the manifesto of the presidential candidate you think you want to vote for on the 14th of January? Let us know if you have had a chance to read it and what your opinion of you is it possible? Is it not possible? Can it be done in 5 years if that is what they're starting to promise to do? Let us know. Hashtag is UBCGMU on Twitter, at UBC TV Uganda, and on Facebook you can find the daily poll there on UBC TV. Later on we will be able to read your comments and your views and hear you out. It's still Good Morning Uganda, and we'll be having My Vote, My Choice with Felix Nkunda coming through, a discussion with a peace ambassador globally. What is he talking about? And we also do have a Good Morning agenda. This morning we do have a legendary politician, one of the founding fathers of the politics that we are seeing today, Paul Semogerere. So we'll be having a discussion, getting to hear from him ahead of the 2021 general elections, what his opinion is, his take in his times versus the current times. All this on Good Morning Uganda. I still remain Priscilla Nalwoga.
Good Morning Uganda, January 2021. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Yes! Enjoy great value from Airtel with the all-new My Pakalast combo offers. We have customized especially for you the best deals on minutes, data, and SMS with our 3-in-1 My Pakalast combo to give you the best value as you stay in touch with friends and family. To activate My Pakalast voice combo, dial *100*2*1# to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Dembe.
Yes, Dad.
Please don't go to the city. Wait for the elections to come down.
Papa, don't be worried. Election time isn't a matter of life and death. It's supposed to be a peaceful exercise. The winners and losers meant to come together for the good of our country.
You've spoken well, my son. Election comes and goes, but Uganda stays.
Very true, Dad.
Oh, my son. Now, no matter the situation, don't get involved in strikes and demonstrations. Putting your life in danger.
This message is brought to you by Rokal Initiatives.
Notice peanut butter. Enjoy the real taste of Notice natural peanut butter that spreads happiness to the whole family. Available in smooth, crunchy, and chocolate nut variants. Pick a size that fits your pocket from 125 grams, 250 grams, 400 grams, and 800 grams. Notice peanut butter, the real peanut butter. Available in all leading supermarkets.
Get ready to vote.
Dear Ugandans, let me take you through what you need to ensure that your ballot paper is properly marked. On arrival at the polling station on polling day, wash your hands, wear your face masks, and observe social distance to limit the spread of COVID-19. Ensure that your hands are dry before you receive a ballot paper from the polling official. Mark your candidate using the authorized mark of choice. Use either a tick or a thumbprint. Place the authorized mark of your choice in the corresponding space for your candidate using a pen or a stamp pad provided by the Electoral Commission. Ensure that your tick or thumbprint does not cross to the other candidate's space. If that happens, the vote is invalid and therefore will not be counted for your candidate. Do not use any other mark other than the tick or the thumbprint to vote for your candidate. If you do so, your vote will be invalid. This message is from the Electoral Commission.
January 2021. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. January 2021. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, a wonderful morning once again, and of course it is still UBC and Good Morning Uganda. Now, thank you so much for keeping it here with us. Remember, in this segment, My Vote, My Choice, we do bring to you some of the updates that are happening around this electoral process, and of course this particular time, 2021, remember, elections started yesterday. Now, some of the candidates have been already voted. We looked at the youth, and today will be other votings, and then later on the major that all our eyes are on focus is the 14th, where we'll be looking at the head of state and of course the parliamentary members. Now remember, as a country we do have three arms of government, that is the executive, the parliament, and of course the judiciary. Now at least two of them go through a process of election. That is the executive, where we do vote the president. Later on he does cause appointments like the vice president, the prime minister, and ministers in that order, and the same are also approved by a parliament, which we also vote for, that is still in its composition through members of parliament. This also symbolizes a representation wider through legislature and of course through regions, most recent district, municipalities, and so on and so forth. The same we'll be doing on the 14th. But also remember, all of you out there who seek to go and vote, something we must emphasize time and again is that you must be qualified. Now, you may have a right to vote, again, as a Ugandan, but your right must be qualified under the Constitution. Something we also ask all of you to take keen interest in, that make sure you are not just a voter, but you must be also qualified under the laws of practice. Now, you must have registered and gone through the processes and must be on the register sheet. Your name must be given and known for that particular purpose of voting. Now, something also to look out for in addition to your right to vote this time round. Note that we are living in times of abnormalities, if you want to call them, where we have COVID-19. It means that you must be qualified once again to vote, and thus you must be able to follow the SOPs. Now, the Ministry of Health came out and gave guidelines on how voting will go, which are supposed to be implemented by Electoral Commission and its sister agencies like police or the other coercive forces. That for any of you to access the polling area, you must have followed the same. The first one is that all of you must carry face masks. That is a must. You may be stopped from accessing your right as a voter if you don't have a face mask. Take keen interest that in as much as it's a right for you to vote, your name is on the register, you have all it needs, all it takes for that matter, you may be stopped to carry or exercise this right if you actually don't follow the SOPs. First, if you don't have a face mask. Now second, if you didn't go through the process of washing your hands or sanitizing, again, your right may be limited in this particular election given to this in this particular time of voting. Now, third to that is that if you do not follow the guidelines, and one of them is that recently we have also been told that we shall not have any affiliation of coloring in this particular polling area. For example, there are parties that are known for particular colors, like the NRM is commonly known for yellow. We've seen most recent, the NUP is also for red. So was UPC, I guess, much earlier. We know that Democratic Party is known for green. We know that FDC is most lucrative for blue. And you have ANT for purple, just to mention but a few. It is also advisable that we do not carry some of these identities in the polling area. Remember, election campaign stops today officially, and the other days will not be given or accepted to carry out any form of campaign. And the same is not accepted around the polling areas. Again, voting is a right, but this right can be limited if you're working outside of the cordons of the same. The aspect of cameras was also discussed widely, and the Electoral Commission came out to clarify the same, that your right to vote may be curtailed if you do abuse some of these particular guidelines. For example, if you want to take a recording or take photos within the polling area, you may be limited from accessing your right as a voter. So take note that you can do this outside the polling area, but not within the polling area. Now, you must take diligent notice of some of these limitations so you do not end up disappointing yourself and of course your candidate of choice by not voting, yet you would have voted, but because of some of these technicalities. Kindly follow instructions for the people who will be at these places. Keep peace, keep order. We want, well, of course, it has also been advised that after voting, you may go home. But of course, you'll also be following some of these events in most of the hotspot areas of voting. UBC and our teams will be out there in the field. But stay home, stay safe. Importantly, go vote for your candidate. It is your right. Remember, you're making a choice that is going to lead us in the next 5 years, and that will determine, for some of you who are parents, it says a lot about how your kids will grow, how they'll be, how you will access for the mothers maternal health, for the fathers how to be able to win bread. So much is determined by the abilities we put into the choices we make when we vote. Also take keen interest to look at the manifestos of your candidates out there. It is important for you to make an informed choice as you go to vote. On the 14th, especially for your members of parliament, we have had a lot of issues, and I understand our guest in studio, that is the Honorable Semogele, will talk about the quality of leaders somewhere. We have had challenges with the August House most recent, and that is something that we must look into as we go for this particular election. Pay keen interest in what is on offer for the table, on the table for some of these contenders. Now, thank you so much for keeping it here with us on UBC and Good Morning Uganda. We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll go into our GMU agenda, where Robert and a seasoned politician, father, mentor, and also a leader will be sharing with us some of the wisdom that we need, some of the words we need to hear as youth and as a country as we head into this election. Good morning.
January 2021. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Today is a great day to make someone's day. A wonderful day to rewrite the future. Today is a beautiful day to light up their world. A marvelous day to make a brand new start. The perfect day to make the world smaller. Uganda, today isn't just another day. Today is your day. Airtel Money, with you always. Airtel Money, quick, secure, borderless.
In order for me to be able to answer this question about what are the top problems in Kampala, you have to have walked in the 135 villages of Kampala Central, which I've done. And for me, the most prominent issue is unemployment. So what we need to do is to move away from job seeking and look at job creation. Job creation is a big possibility in Kampala because, number one, we have a very entrepreneurial group of young people.
Bw'oyogera nyaffe Uganda ekkula lya Afrika tolemwa kumwenya olw'akamwenyumwenyu akajjudde abanywanyi. Embeera y'obudde yatukolako mukwano n'obutonde obutubeezaawo ne butusobozesa buli omu okubeerawo mu ngeri ye, kuba ffenna tuli banjawulo ne mu ngeri gye tukwasaganyamu emirimu gyaffe. Naye ekitugatta ne tufuuka omuntu omu bwe buwoomye buva mu kyokunywa ekyaleeruya gingatte drink n'aleeruya tamaline drink, eddekende erikumala ennyonta ate nga wejjanjaba omubiri gwo. Ekyokunywa kino kye kitegeera emibiri gyaffe kuba kya butonde 100 ku 100. Woomerwa ekyokunywa kirimu omubisi gw'enkooge. Alleluya tamaline drink n'Alleluya ginger drink bikolebwa ba Alleluya Reflexology Healthy Solution and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Weefunire ekyokunywa kya Alleluya leero okuva ku maduuka wonna. Bakubire ku noti 393 24 15 66.
Good morning, Uganda. January 2021. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again and welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. With about 48 hours to elections, Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono with a unique guest in studios. This time around, I have a person who has seen it all, a man who has been around on the political arena of this country. Born in, that is 1932. Till today, he's still strong, he's still moving and ready to ensure that we shape the politics of this country. He's a man who many Ugandans know famously for the 1980 election. So much has been said about this election that we saw a team of young men there get on the guns, go and ensure that sanity restores on the political arena of this country. A two-time presidential candidate, that is the 1980 election, but also in 1996, he contested with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, amongst others. He's the brain behind so many politicians in Uganda, most so in the opposition. He retired active politics in 2005. He was the president of the Democratic Party for 25 years. And also he began his leadership skills right from primary school at Kisubi, both the junior and senior. And they also held head prefect leader skill, their position there for that school. So he's a man that knows Uganda. From the 60s, he's been around. He knows where Uganda has come from. He's been active in politics in Uganda, and that is Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere. Retired, but not retired. Old is gold. Doctor, you're most welcome to our studios.
You're welcome.
It gives me pleasure knowing that we are going to be discussing peace during and after elections with a person that has been around for so long. Doctor, what keeps you moving? All along, you've never given up the struggle for this country.
Well, I gave up active struggle when I retired, but I still I'm interested in the future, in the present and the future of my country and the fate of people of this country. And I see potential Uganda has. Uganda is not behind, is not inferior to other countries in terms of human resources. So if I can make a contribution in that direction, I come along and do it. And I seem to have been encouraged recently by the response I've received from many political actors, some of whom are standing for leadership in this coming election, and also some other people out there who converse with us, who write in newspapers and so on. And I also find myself concerned about a few structural things. Some are of historical nature. And so I think if I can make a contribution, if anybody can listen to me, and forge ahead to resolve these issues, then I have to play my part.
Doctor, before we dive into serious politics debate, what also has kept you healthy? Over 80, and you're still strong. I saw you walk into our studios very strong, and one could doubt you're 80 plus.
Yes, I'm 88. I'll be 89 next month. But I don't know. I think I must.
Do you exercise, feeding well?
Well, yes, I think I've. But first of all, I must thank His Almighty God. I think there was some good endowment from childhood, but I've also been engaged in, I think, activities which lead to good life. Been involved in. I've been playing games. I've been carrying out exercises from childhood till now, and of course not as much as before, but I think that has contributed. I've been taking care of my parents, my elders. Been taking very good care of my family, my wife. I think all this leads to a good life worth living. Medical attention, good doctors. Yeah, I think that's what I can say.
Very interesting. At 88, Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere is still very energetic, very strong. Recently, we saw him also is the brain behind United in Diversity, which has attracted a number of opposition political parties to come together and find something as we head for this election. Doctor, you've been around, like we said in our introduction, and many Ugandans will not forget your participation in the 1980 elections where you stood. And also, today we want to look at building peace before and after elections. With your vast experience, when you look at Ugandans' elections and this time around, what really should Ugandans focus on if you want to have peaceful elections?
Well, I am committed to a peaceful approach, regardless of strong disappointments. This I'm famous for, and I have no apologies for it. However, when I look at, for instance, what has happened in Uganda since independence, beginning in particular 1962, then we come to 1980, then 1996, and subsequently, I feel sorry that some structural problems have mitigated against peace and led in some cases to even organized violence. In 1966 led to a constitutional coup. 1966 there was a constitutional coup, but it was, you can say, a consequence of as we say, an unholy alliance in 1962, when you had people without a common cause who joined hands, parties which joined hands for the sake of getting power, but not agreeing on the specifics of what to do with this power. And when that alliance collapsed in 2 years, one of the parties decided to enlist military to take the place of political base. And when he was sure that he had the military behind him, he moved ahead and executed this constitutional coup in 1966. And the consequences are known, with suffering and so on. Then with that alliance, with the government, with the military backing the government, it felt secure. But eventually, that alliance fell apart in 1971. And everybody knows what happened then. Then the army managed to take over. We had Idi Amin. And in 1980, when Obote resurfaced, took over power, again, instead of relying entirely on the people's choices, he enlisted the support of the military and managed to get into power. And the history is very clear about that. But eventually, when this alliance fell apart in 1985, again we had the problem that we had. And
so we've been having a recurring problem.
Yes, current problem.
What has that problem been?
And I can see that even now, with all due respect to the many good things which have been done, we still have that duty to address the question of having a genuinely professional military, genuine professional police and security agencies. I think that is a cardinal challenge I will not rest when that issue is still there, because one of the problems, one of the sources of problems not only in Uganda politics, but in many African countries' politics, and even elsewhere where this problem has not been solved, you get problems. And I think that we have got the capacity and even the intelligence to realize that that constitutional fault should be addressed and corrected.
Doctor, you are in government
yes.
and in key positions.
Yes.
What was your contribution towards solving that problem in your stay in government?
Yes, I did what I could. For instance, in the Nairobi peace talks, an issue came about the future of the Uganda police force. And by that time, police force in Uganda was notorious for being used to harass people. I was myself detained in 1969, and it was policemen who came to my home when a decision of the ruling party then, UPC, had been made at a delegates conference to ban all opposition parties and leave only the UPC as the party, the single party in the country, which was following a Mulungushi Club decision. It was something many African leaders were now endorsing, that for good development, you don't need detractors in politics. It is good to have one party where everybody belongs. Yes. So the DP was banned, like other political parties at that, which were operating at that time. And the following day, I was at home having my breakfast, and the policeman came and he said I was required at the police station. I said, why am I required at the police station? I don't have any work there. I have no reason to be at the police station. But they said, yes, but you have to go. They were very polite, I must say, but they were also insistent that their mission had to be carried out. So I said, okay, you let me, I now know you are going to arrest me and have me detained. Give me a little time, I'm finishing writing down my will, so that if I don't come back, there will be no problems in the family. And they were polite to wait for me, and I did that. Then they took me to the police station. Well, from there, I was taken to Central Police Station, where I met my other friends.
So that was the situation by then?
1969, yes, and I found Ben Chwanoga, our leader. I found other people like Bemba and so on. And eventually was served with a detention order and taken to Luzira Police Station, to Luzira Prison, where we stayed until 1971. So this was a treatment, and many people suffered because of that. 19
So usually, Doctor, as we discuss peace building during and after elections, you've given us the past of this country, the mistakes that have been committed.
Yes.
This time around,
that was a mistake.
Yes, that have been committed.
And you can see what happened afterwards. You had the need, I mean. And in 1980, same kind of similar mistakes were made, and the police were deployed, military were deployed to enforce those decisions which were biased. And that led, for instance, if we go to 1980, what happened? It was a question of whether we should remain peaceful, law-abiding, or say enough is enough. And it was a serious issue in my party, for instance. Some of my fellow leaders decided
that enough was enough. For
you? And I decided, and it was a popular vote in the party leadership. We got all our leaders from all over the country, and we had 2 days discussion of what to do. And in the end, by popular vote, the party decided to remain peaceful, and those who are elected, who are declared elected, to participate in the election, in the parliament. And I was one of them, and we did our best, and I think it was honorable.
Okay.
On the other hand, let me finish this. Okay. On the other hand, some of our friends thought, no, this is cowardly, and they joined hands with UPM leadership, which had, in their own ways, decided to go to the bush, and they went. And in the end, as you all know, 1995, things changed, and the NRM took over power, and I leave it to everybody to judge. But if I look at 1980, for instance, one of the recommendations I made together with my friends was to change the electoral system from winner takes all to proportional representation system. And I still believe if that had been agreed upon, and if we had changed this electoral system and adopted proportional representation system, that issue of deciding, that controversy, which prompted many leaders I respect to opt for violence, would not have arisen.
Doctor,
and some of them would have
going by your decision, you called honorable decision, where we are today is the decision that we believe all Ugandans have taken, because now we have change of power through democratic methods, which is an election. This is what we are heading for in the next 48 hours. How best can we ensure that there is peace during these elections and after the elections, from the view of an expert, a person who has been around and has witnessed many of the elections happening in this country?
As I've always urged, we want people to be peaceful. We want them to follow the law. At the same time, I urge, and I urge honestly, the authorities, the leadership of this country, including President Museveni himself, including heads of the military, heads of the police force and intelligence agencies, and other leaders in the country, to ensure that the human rights of each and every individual in this country are respected, and that laws are not imposed which deny the free enjoyment of these basic rights. At the same time, in addition, I urge, for instance, the contestants for office, even those who are in government, to look at the structural issues that have been a contributing factor to violence in this country, to denial of freedom in this country. I urge them, and that's why the little contribution I've been making, I've been able to encourage and succeed to be believed by some of these contestants for power, to focus on those structural issues, for instance, the exercise of presidential power, for instance, the deployment in security of the military, where it is not necessary in a democracy, where the military should be more concerned about safeguarding the country against external use, and then to have the police focus on maintaining law and order, but not go to the extent, for instance, of arresting people arbitrarily, detaining them beyond what the law allows, denying them appearance in the courts of law, and sometimes involving the military in arrest of people, detaining them in the barracks without any sanction.
So these are what you're pushing for?
Some of the things. Then when people realize that this election might deliver a better constitutional order where their human rights are respected, I think that it will be much easier for them to participate freely and elect freely the people of their own choices, focusing on those common objectives. And again, I repeat the need for changing the electoral system. I repeat the need for decentralizing power. You can imagine, for instance,
Doctor, with just less than 48 hours remaining, these are some of the things that, okay, you've been pushing for, but maybe have not seen the light of day. But as we speak now, we are looking at more of a surgical operation, how best. Time is against us. We've seen you of late. You're the brain behind United in Diversity. That is bringing together opposition groups. I don't know if also parties that are not in the opposition, maybe the NRM, but I've seen a lot of opposition coming together, and you're the brain behind this. What have you been? What is the mandate? What are you pushing for under United for Diversity?
That dialogue.
United in Diversity.
That dialogue right now is seen to be welcomed by people in the opposition. But as conceived, this dialogue goes beyond that. It's not focused, it was not conceived to serve only this election. It is supposed to serve this country for generations to come, so that people in Uganda, both in the government and opposition and outsiders, can agree that this is an issue which brings us together. For instance, people in Uganda deserve a better electoral system. And with that alone, you solve many problems. Like what happened in Maogora, would be something of the past.
What do you find challenging or not right with our electoral system? Why Ugandans register, Ugandans go on polling day and exercise, the winner then is announced in broad daylight. What is that you feel
It is a defective system. For instance, even where it is practiced, in very few countries, but where it is practiced, like you take Britain, for instance, it is almost, you are not surprised when the results are announced that somebody is elected in a constituency, and yet he has not commanded more than even half of the votes cast. Majority of the votes cast have been cast against him, but he's declared because it's a winner takes all. And that itself can generate a lot of problems. And secondly, that system tempts or encourages many people in authority to demarcate constituencies, to engage in gerrymandering, so that they apportion very many seats for Parliament in areas where they feel comfortable because they've got either support based on ethnicity, whatever it is, and they carve out very many constituencies in disproportionate to the number of people there. And this can create structural problems.
Challenges.
All right? Yes, precisely. And we have this in this country. We have had it before during Amin's time, and we have it even now. You just take a map, just get all the constituencies, find out the number of voters or population in each of the constituencies that we have, and then you will find that some constituencies really are too many because of political gerrymandering.
Looking at this election that we are heading into, Dr. Kawanga Semogerere, you've witnessed a couple of elections. Is it unique in any way in the elections that we've been having, just not to go back into the 80s, just maybe after the 1995 constitution? Do you see any difference?
Well, I see, for instance, with the arrival on the scene of a dynamic musician turned politician, Kyagulanyi, bring along with him a larger number of young people who have not normally been keen to participate in elections or to stand for elections. That is something interesting. But also, to my disappointment, I see the institutionalization of the military in police role, and I feel very sorry about that, much more than before. And I must point out the statement by the Inspector General of Police recently caused me a lot of suffering, pain, having been a Minister of Internal Affairs, and did my best to ensure that we restructure, we re-educate the police so that it's really professional and up to the standards accepted and welcomed internationally in working democracies, that so many years afterwards, the head of the police force just doesn't take this message and achievement seriously. I feel very sad about that.
Looking at this election that we are going into, as we ensure that the message we preach is for peace during and after elections, Doctor, you are mentor of many politicians in this country, most of the opposition. Many would start with the fact that they have gone through your hands. There's a lot they have learned from you. In this election, the messages coming out from politicians, the conduct of politicians, the quality of politicians, as we move into this election, have we seen peace being created by the key actors?
I am not going to dwell on the personal behavior of individuals. We don't have the time for it. But all I can say, I have to repeat my plea for peace. However annoyed, however badly treated, I urge peace. And I say, as many of the people have been discussing with have agreed, those who are concerned about ill treatment should document those cases and hope that there can be an authoritative, independent commission of inquiry to look into those complaints and make recommendations. We have been having, for instance, powerful independent observer missions in the previous elections. We don't seem to have as many now on this occasion, unfortunately. And the question must be asked, why not? But there are reports there, right from 1980 to now. These reports are very, very valuable guide to see what should be done, what has gone wrong, what should be done, and how. I think that should be a lesson for all of us. And in our dialogue, we intend to continue the effort of looking for structural reforms, of even as I said before, involving the people in government, involving people in the services, if they like, so that we all get together for the common cause of Uganda being saved, Uganda being united, Uganda being progressive, and overcoming our structural weaknesses.
Well, Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogerere, time is not on our best side, but before we wind up, I want to get your final message. More so, like you said, this is a unique election where we're having so much of youth participation this time around. What is your message to the youth as we enter into this election? Just 44 hours about that too, the D-Day for voting for presidential and parliamentary election.
My message, welcome to the political arena. It is pleasing that many of the young people who are hitherto did not consider election as an important exercise are taking part both as voters and also as candidates. I welcome this development, but I urge them to be peaceful, and I urge them wherever they feel wronged, they should document those cases, and eventually we look for a way out to solve those problems for the youth, for the old, for everybody in this country. And I think with that kind of approach, Uganda can look forward with a lot of expectations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere, a mentor of many politicians, mostly in the opposition, 2 times presidential candidate in the 1980s and 1996, a man who has not given up the struggle to ensure that we have a common good, like he said. And to the youth, yes, welcome to the political arena, but let's do whatever we do by promoting peace, because peace we all benefit. Where situations are not peaceful, we all lose as a country, no matter what extent you are. So let's push for peace, let's promote peace as we head for these elections just a few hours. And we believe it is us Ugandans to determine the nature of elections we are going to have. If we choose peace, it will be peace. Remember, nobody has monopoly over violence. Have a lovely day. I see they're doing all it takes to ensure they read through some of your questions that you've brought forward, your opinions on our poll question this morning, and we will ensure that we read out each and every comment that comes in. So please keep sending them in. Then Priscilla and Felix will be doing that just shortly after me. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourself. COVID is still around. Don't be lost in the political excitement, because we've so far registered 302 cases that have people that have succumbed to COVID-19 in Uganda. Have a lovely day.
Good morning, Uganda. January 2021, live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning, Uganda.
Yes! Enjoy great value from Airtel with the all-new My Pakalast combo offers. We have customized especially for you the best deals on minutes, data, and SMS with our 3-in-1 My Pakalast combo to give you the best value as you stay in touch with friends and family. To activate My Pakalast voice combo, dial *100 *2 *1# to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Shopping needs, come to Capital Shoppers. We have a variety of items like foods, garments, cosmetics, and all sorts of drinks. Enjoy your shopping experience at affordable prices in our fully stocked branches in the following areas: Ntinda Station Road, opposite Makere Business School along Portbell Road, Duster Street opposite Nakasero Market, and Garden City on Yusuf Lule Road. To all our customers and suppliers, we thank you for your continuous support. Stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize, and wear your mask always.
Get ready to vote.
Dear Ugandans, let me take you through what you need to ensure that your ballot paper is properly marked. On arrival at the polling station on polling day, wash your hands, wear your face masks, and observe social distance to limit the spread of COVID-19. Ensure that your hands are dry before you receive a ballot paper from the polling official. Mark your candidate using the authorized mark of choice. Use either a tick or a thumbprint. Place the authorized mark of your choice in the corresponding space for your candidate using a pen or a stamp pad provided by the Electoral Commission. Ensure that your tick or thumbprint does not cross to the other candidate's space. If that happens, the vote is invalid and therefore will not be counted for your candidate. Do not use any other mark other than the tick or the thumbprint to vote for your candidate. If you do so, your vote will be invalid. This message is from the Electoral Commission.
Notice peanut butter. Enjoy the real taste of Notice natural peanut butter that spreads happiness to the whole family. Available in smooth, crunchy, and chocolate nut variants. Pick a size that fits your pocket from 125 grams, 250 grams, 400 grams, and 800 grams. Notice peanut butter, the real peanut butter. Available in all leading supermarkets.
The National Resistance Movement reminds all Ugandans about the power in your vote. Since democracy was ushered into Uganda in 1995, Ugandans have exercised their right to choose the right leadership. Hence, your vote is very important, so don't waste it. On the polling day, arrive at your polling station at exactly 7 a.m. You will be given a ballot paper. Go ahead and tick or use a thumbprint in the space next to the yellow bus. Make sure you tick or thumbprint in the box. Do not exceed the box to ensure the ballot is not spoiled. Then fold your ballot paper lengthwise and insert it into the ballot box. The National Resistance Movement applauds you for exercising your right to vote. Do not be misled. Secure your future. Vote Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the man wearing a hat at the bottom of the ballot paper. This message is brought to you by the NRM National Chairman's Office.
Buyogera nyaffe Uganda ekkula lya Afrika tolemwa kumwenya olw'akamwenyumwenyu akajjudde abanywanyi. Embeera y'obudde yatukolako mukwano n'obutonde obutubeezaawo ne butusobozesa buli omu okubeerawo mu ngeri ye kuba ffenna tuli banjawulo ne mu ngeri gye tukwasaganyamu emirimu gyaffe. Naye ekitugatta ne tufuuka omuntu omu bwe buwoomyo buva mu kyokunywa ekyaleeruya jingatte drink n'aleeruya tamaline drink eddekende erikumala ennyonta ate nga wejjanjaba omubiri gwo. Ekyokunywa kino kye kitegeera emibiri gyaffe kuba kya butonde 100 ku 100. Woomerwa ekyokunywa kirimu omubisi gw'enkooge. Aleluya tamaline drink n'aleluya jingatte drink bikolebwa ba Aleluya Reflexology Healthy Solution and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Wefunira ekyokunywa kya Aleluya leero okuva ku maduuka wonna. Bakubire ku noti 393 24 15 66.
Good morning, Uganda. January 2021, live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning, Uganda. Good morning, Uganda. January 2021, live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning, Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda, and with 48 hours to go, we're definitely excited to see how the elections this time round are going to happen. The election hub here at Uganda Broadcasting Corporation is going to be live every single hour, minute and second, giving you updates, and the hashtag to use is UBC UG Polls 2021 on all our social media platforms. Majorly Twitter, which is at UBC TV Uganda, on Facebook UBC TV, and on on YouTube. We're streaming live this morning on our YouTube channel, which is UBC Television Uganda. We get to look at a very interesting conversation that we were looking at. Have you had a chance to read your candidate's manifesto or campaign? Journey, agenda, whatever the case has been, for the last few months that we've had these candidates on the journey, on the trail across Uganda. Surely they've not covered the 146 districts. Surely they've not used every traditional media platform. Surely they have not maximized on the new social media platforms, but yet people need to make the informed decision.
Indeed. Indeed, it's quite a funny that most of the Ugandans don't even take in interest to understand what is entailed in the manifestos of their loved candidates. And if you ask me or ask any Ugandan at set off randomly, what do you anchor on to vote for Priscilla?
Yeah.
What do you anchor on to vote for President, for example, Museveni? What do you anchor on to vote for Chagulanyi or that kind? You'll be surprised by the kind of comments they'll give you.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have case_311. You say, I have read the manifesto of a certain party, but it doesn't match their actions. We are tired of empty promises.
It's painful. It's really painful that most of candidates will give you a rosy picture of events and how they would want to do things, but certainly some of them actually don't. Okay. And there's one that says, yes, and I'm voting, that is Akandwanaho. Wow. Yes, and I'm voting Mugisha Muntu. Greg, that is Greg Muntu. He has read probably the ANT manifesto, and we
which we also had an opportunity to look at earlier this morning.
Yeah, much of the heads that are put together this work have been seen on the political scene, so we believe they know and have experience in what they're actually giving us this time around.
Okay. All right. So how do we then get to close it up? Because people need to make an informed decision. You are talking about my vote, my choice, the necessity of information at the fingertips of the decisions people are going to make in 2 days.
You see, that is quite parallel to what African politics is characterized with. You will be surprised that most of the African leaders do not trade ideas. Most of them seek to be popular, but not ideologies, or they don't have ideologies to trade. For example, if you ask ANT, you ask FDC, you ask even the NRM, or NUP for that matter, the ideologies they share have not been the evidence of the kind of way they have lived or gone through these elections. So it is hard for our viewers out there who would say that want to focus on manifestos per se, because that has also since not been proven to be the best approach. But nevertheless, people vote what you believe in. As I told you, people will vote for various reasons. They'll vote for hairstyle, they'll vote for dress code, note style, and all these kind of things. So clearly, again, but Priscilla, of course, when you try to look at our Facebook page,
well, Facebook has been down. You know, in 2016, we had a very interesting thing that happened, a newbie of sorts, when social media had taken the storm in influencing the politics of this country. We had social media platforms back in 2016 being put to a halt. Suddenly, you could not access Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and that's because they had cut off the internet supply for the entire country. It was a very interesting time back then, and so far, we are seeing a build-up of something similar coming through since the week has begun. We are seeing some platforms, some accounts being deactivated, suspended. But is this in any way going to help curbing false information getting out there?
But you and me know that it's not only false information that happens on Facebook. That's very selfish of whoever thinks they can use that way of life. There are people who do business on Facebook, people who sell clothes, who get employment, who are paid every day. So I think that's very selfish if you think the world is entirely going to go to a standstill because of some political sort of activity.
All right. Well, we're definitely going to be giving you live coverage every single time here on UBC, and the hashtag to look out for is UBC UG Polls 2021, as Uganda gets to decide yet again for the next 5 years who are going to be your leaders. And you do have Jagenda Semakula and yes, Mr. Jagenda Semakula is going to be giving
Priscilla
us
Naroga and Jordan for that matter.
Yes.
Well, of course, we'll be listening and having them give us a couple of commentary and updates on how this process will be going through and what's new, what's happening from different parts of course, the country, which we're actually excited and are waiting to hear and have from them, from you and your colleagues.
Well, we're going to be having this in every studio, and we're going to be having it across all the networks that we have here. We have Star TV, we do have radio networks that will be giving you this live coverage. So in case you're a TV person, definitely you want to consider Star TV and UBC. In case you love your radio, then our local radios will also be giving you this live coverage, Magic FM among others. So on our social media platforms, go to the medium of your choice for UBC Corporation, and you'll be able to get these live updates. UBC UG Polls 2021 is the hashtag on Twitter at UBC TV Uganda, and the election hubby at UBC is going to be giving you every single nitty-gritty detail, covering it from the beginning and the end, and also the post thereafter. We'll have to look at it because we've had other African countries doing the elections, and we've looked at the before, the during, and the after, and definitely our very own Uganda, we definitely have to consider that there is the post-elections. What is that going to look like when you've made your decision? We have to come back to the realities on ground. The economy, COVID-19, where do we stand thereafter after the elections are done and dusted? We will be continuing this tomorrow. My vote, my choice. We're going to be talking about the other nitty-gritties. We're going to be talking about different parties in the race. What do the numbers look like so far? We've had a report looking at the percentages so far, and so far NRM is topping the percentages, but what are the other parties faring like as far as this is concerned? Tomorrow we'll be giving you a little bit of insight into the sports update coming through with Ruben Mpima Chibirango, but also we want to know, has he had a chance to read the manifesto of the candidate he wants to vote for? He is the candidate. Okay, all right.
January 2021, live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Today is a great day.